Hey there, this is Annie Rivera, and you're listening to another episode of Annie Talks. This podcast will feature conversations with the different people who have interesting stories to tell. I recently met Andy Bumatai, who was referred to as Hawaii's first stand-up comic. Born and raised in Hawaii, this comedian, actor, and TV show host got his start as the opening act for the popular comedian Fran De Lima and appeared in movies including the Whoopee Boys, Aloha Summer, and Marker. He later became a TV producer for Hawaii's KGMB-TV with shows called School Daze and All into Ohana. Nationally, he was featured on Raven, North Shore, Baywatch, and he has also produced his own Hawaiian-based online talk show called The Andy Bumatai Show. Andy is touring the states riding his motorcycle through parts of California, where I met up with him for this interview. Without revealing too much in my conversation with Andy, he talks about his life, passion for the outdoors, motorcycles, and has a message for people of all ages. And now I bring to you Annie Talks with Andy Bumatai. Hello, everybody. We're here with Andy Bumatai. I am so excited and privileged to meet you, Andy.
You've got to raise your standards, young lady.
So tell us a little bit about 2018. What does that look like for you?
I don't know. You know, I would like it to involve more motorcycle trips. I really enjoy that. I'm playing these small clubs of pockets of Hawaiians and stuff, and that's primarily what I think about, you know. And you know what they say, you know, it's what you think about that you end up doing, and that's what I think about, you know. I like social media. Please follow me on Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff. I really, for an old war horse like me who remembers, you know, when you wanted to shoot a video like this, there was a big truck, you know, and now we've got these, and everyone has a TV studio in their pocket. You know, it's an exciting time, you know.
Talk about your motorcycle. What do you like to do? What do you ride?
Well, I just like motorcycles in general, but personally, I prefer the Harley-Davidson models, you know, but American, in the order of motorcycles, it's the American Big Twins first, and I think Harley would probably be on the top of that. But, you know, now they have Victory and they have Indian, and, you know, and then after that, you know, I really like the cafe racer style. Don't let me bore you with too much esoteric motorcycle stuff, but I wouldn't probably own one, but I love the way they look, and I love the spirit of the builders who do it. I especially, I think Harley-Davidson's new 2018 line is just amazing, what they've done and how they've reached for new customers and that sort of thing. But at the same time, I like the garage-built hardcore choppers, you know, that the old guys ride. A lot of the new guys are getting into it, you know, with hardtails and jockey shifts and, you know, and kickstart only. I have a 67 shovel that, you know, that I built, and I enjoy that. Like, I'm one of these guys, I'd rather go to Born Free than go to Sturgis, if that means anything to you. But the motorcycles out there will know what I'm talking about.
And what is it? How does it make you feel when you're on a motorcycle?
You know, that's like saying, how does it feel to parachute? You know, and it's, unless you do it, you really don't understand it. But, you know, the obvious stuff is there's a feeling of freedom. You know, there's a feeling. It's just fun if you own a motorcycle. Now, this isn't me. I saw this on a Netflix show or something where someone was trying to explain it, and he said, "Do you ski?" And the guy says, "Oh yeah, I love to ski." And he says, "Imagine being able to ski to work." You know, I mean, it's just fun, you know, and life is so short that I believe you got to fit as much fun in as possible, because you don't want to be sitting around, you know, and going, "Oh, you know, I wish I bought a bike," you know. People think I'm nuts. I ride around by myself, you know, and everyone goes, "Well, you don't get a group of guys," and, you know, and I love doing that too, but when you're doing what I'm doing, you don't want to wait for anybody. You see something cool, you want to pull over. If you want to take, you know, an hour on the side of a rest stop with my iPhone, you know, editing what I shot right there, I do it, you know, and then later on go, I don't like that, book, and then, you know, there's no better way to see America, you know. And I'm a big fan of America. You know, a lot of people like to travel and go other countries and all that. And they're wonderful, don't get me wrong. But there's so much here to see.
What would the Andy today tell your 21-year-old self?
I would say to him, stop it. I'm so much mellower now, you know. When I was in my 20s, and I think a lot of young people go through this, you're trying to find yourself. You're trying to be somebody. You're trying to, you know everything, you know. I just, I'm one of those guys that, I miss my 20s back when I didn't need anybody's advice and I knew everything. You know, now that I'm older, I realize I know diddly squat and can use all the help I get. And, you'd think it would be about opposite, as we used to say, but, I would say listen more,
Tell me about your recovery. How's that going for you?
Well, if you're talking about, I had cancer about a year ago. I had tongue cancer, and I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't, do drugs. It's just one of those things. A lot of people get it. But, it's interesting that the cancer I had, it's the light beer of cancers. I mean, it's not pancreatic. It's not ovarian for women. It's not, but it's highly treatable, but it tends to come back. That's the only thing. And it's in my throat. You can probably hear my throat took a hit, because of the radiation and, the operating and my hearing, which was already bad. So, but there are worse things. My father and brother both died of cancer, so I'm kind of aware of what's going on with it. And, you go through that period of, well, I got cancer. I guess I don't have to pick up the dry cleaning. I do this thing, where I adjust my perceptions so that things aren't as harsh as, they probably are. For instance, I get diagnosed with cancer. My first thought was, I'm glad it wasn't my wife. I'm glad it wasn't my kids. If the cancer fairy showed up and said, okay, who would you pick to have cancer in your family? You would pick yourself. I think most mothers would instead of their children, and most fathers would instead of their family members. So I was fortunate in the sense that it was me and not them. But it's difficult because, they have to watch you go through it. And, as much as you go, I got this, they're going to worry, right?
So how are you able to stay positive throughout this?
Well, what's the alternative? Negative. What's better, positive or negative? There was a time, and that's one of the upsides of being older. You keep things in perspective a little more. You don't, well, why me and all that. And oh man, I had all this going. If I died tomorrow, I have lived a life that many would envy. And which is primarily the reason. Why I'm riding a motorcycle more now. I'm traveling more on a bike. I'm doing these small clubs so I can ride around. That's primarily the reason for it. I'm very proud of my Filipino heritage. And on stage, everybody go, how come you say you're Filipino? You get as much Hawaiian, right? And my mom is German. My dad is Hawaiian Filipino. But, as far as industrious, everybody goes, you're so hardworking. And I go, that's the Filipino blood. They're just hard workers, period. It's just in the blood. You kind of help sometimes, And their contributions, people don't know, like the yo-yo. People don't know the yo-yo was invented by Filipinos. It used to be a weapon. And I don't know how it was a weapon, but it was a weapon. And the first yo-yo shop was started in Huntington Beach in like 1942 by a Filipino, right? The moon rover was one of the main designers was a Filipino brother. Yeah, they get all kinds like that, But like getting back to the yo-yo, I keep thinking, how is the yo-yo a weapon? Oh, look at that over there. That is the big one. Oh, I'm gonna make rock the baby. Ooh, look, take that. I don't. How is it a weapon?
Tell the Filipino aspiring comedians, actors, astronauts, doctors. What do you want to tell them about our culture?
Well, stay out of comedy. There's enough competition. How's that? It's not a Filipino thing, or it's just an aspiration thing. I did this thing on my Instagram where I do these little kind of motivational deals, and one of them was, you should stop asking kids what they want to be when they grow up. What do you want to be when you grow up? They should ask kids, what do you love to do? What is your favorite thing to do in the whole world? Well, guess what? Do that. And if I had to say anything to anybody out there, I would say, if you're young enough to, be at that juncture, pick something you love to do. So that, what would you do if you could do it for free? In other words, I love boats so much, I would work on boats for free just to be around boats and be out on the water or whatever, right? Well, then hang around that area and then find a way to make some money, but then it wouldn't be work. But people who go, I like to buy one boat, so I'm going to be a welder. And then pretty soon they're good at welding and they go, I hate this job, but I wish I was into boats. You get sucked into it. And even older folks, it's not too late. To go, hey, guess what? And I'm doing it. I was a comic. I am a comic, but I did it. But now suddenly my priority is I wanted to ride motorcycles around the country all my life, and here I am doing it in my 60s. It would have been so much more fun in my 20s and 30s. I would have brought my then girlfriend, who is now my wife of 35 years, and those are the things. Paul Simon had a line in one of his songs where he talked about a housewife who was disappointed with how her life turned out. And the line is, a good day has no end. A bad day is when I sit around and think about what might have been. So, what do you love to do? That's what you should do.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Hi, this is Andy Bumatai, and you're listening to Annie Talks. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should be cleaning the house, but no, you're watching TV. It's okay. It's Annie's Talk.